Winning the lottery is supposed to be the end of your problems. But for many winners, it becomes the beginning of something much worse. Bankruptcy, broken families, lawsuits, isolation, and in some cases, tragedy. The truth is, lottery winners don't usually lose their money because they're reckless or unintelligent. They lose it because they make the same mistakes again and again in the moments after the win, when emotions are high and structure is missing. In this video, we're breaking down 7 documented mistakes lottery winners make that end up ruining their lives, using real cases to show how these patterns actually play out. No judgment, no exaggeration, just reality. If you're interested in real stories where luck changes everything, you're in the right place. Subscribe to When Luck Strikes, and like this video for more content. Mistake number 1, telling too many people too fast. One of the earliest mistakes winners make is sharing the news widely before protecting themselves. That's exactly what happened to Jack Whitaker, the West Virginia native who won $313.9 million in the Powerball in 2002. At the time, the largest jackpot ever won by a single ticket in U.S. history. Whitaker was already a successful businessman before the win, but once the money hit, his life spun out of control. Instead of managing the situation privately, he openly told friends, family, and the public. Within months, thieves broke into his car and stole more than $500,000 in cash, and on another occasion, his car was targeted again. More painfully, personal tragedies followed. His granddaughter died at age 17 after struggling with addiction, and years later his daughter also died. Whitaker himself later reflected that he wished he had torn the winning ticket up because of how the money brought problems he never wanted. He lived some years in legal and financial turmoil and passed away in 2020, still weighed down by the aftermath. This shows that once information gets out, it's almost impossible to put the genie back in the bottle. Mistake number 2. No professional boundaries or oversight. Another critical mistake is failing to set up professional financial boundaries, and sometimes trusting the wrong family member instead. A striking example involves Gloria McKenzie, a then 84-year-old woman in Jacksonville, Florida, who took home about $278 million after taxes on a $590 million Powerball jackpot in 2013. Rather than handling her finances herself, Gloria granted control to her son, Scott, who hired a financial advisor. But Gloria later filed a lawsuit against both her son and the advisor, alleging that her investments were poorly managed, stuck in low-return securities, and saddled with millions of dollars in fees. She claimed in court that her money was not invested effectively and that she suffered more than $10 million in damages as a result. Scott's lawyers countered that the investments were conservative and chosen to preserve rather than grow the wealth, but the lawsuit highlighted a major issue facing winners. Without proper oversight, even well-intended decisions can lead to serious financial disputes. This case underscores how, without clear financial governance and professional vetting, handing control, even to a family member, can damage long-term financial health. Mistake number 3. Unstructured gifting and informal loans. Many winners try to be generous quickly without contracts, terms, or limits. That can turn generosity into a legal liability. Take the case of William Budd, Post III, who won $16.2 million in the Pennsylvania lottery in 1988. Almost immediately, his brother tried to have him killed for the inheritance. Post survived, but he was later sued by his landlady and occasional girlfriend, who claimed an agreement to share in the winnings, and won. The court awarded her 1/3 of his money, leaving Post in legal obligation he could not satisfy. By the end of his life, Post was more than $1 million in debt and relying on food stamps. When you hand out money without limits or documentation, good intentions invite costly complications. Mistake number 4. Rapid lifestyle inflation. Luxury purchases can feel wonderful in the moment, but the recurring costs can drain a fortune faster than most people expect. One of the most notorious examples of this is David Lee Edwards, who won $27 million after taxes, 1/4 of a $295 million Powerball jackpot in 2001. Edwards lived extravagantly. He bought mansions in Florida, dozens of luxury cars including a Lamborghini, a private jet, a limo business, racehorses, and more. But even with all the toys, there was no plan to sustain the lifestyle. Within a few years, Edwards and his wife lost nearly all of their fortune. They ended up living in a storage unit surrounded by dirty clothes and rotting food. His personal life deteriorated, and drug addiction further strained his finances. He died alone and penniless at age 58 in hospice care. This is a brutal reminder. Wealth doesn't protect you from lifestyle costs and personal struggles, and upgrades without income backing can evaporate money unbelievably fast. Mistake number 5. Trusting the wrong people. Sudden wealth attracts people, some sincere, some dangerous. No story illustrates that more tragically than Abraham Shakespeare, who won a $30 million Florida Lotto jackpot in 2006 and took a $17 million lump sum payout. Shakespeare was generous with friends, family, and even strangers, but constant requests for money left him overwhelmed. He befriended Doris D.D. Moore, who presented herself as someone writing a book about him, and later gained control of his finances. Prosecutors later determined that Moore withdrew substantial funds and bought cars and vacations for herself, presenting many of those expenses as gifts. In 2009, Shakespeare disappeared. His body was later found buried under a concrete slab in Moore's backyard in early 2010. She was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. This isn't just a story of bad luck, and it's a lesson in vulnerabilities. When winners give unchecked access to their finances, they may literally be putting their lives in someone else's hands. Mistake number 6. Losing purpose and structure. Winning can remove routine before it creates meaning. When winners quit their jobs immediately, abandon goals, and sever ties with responsibility, emotional emptiness often follows. Many winners describe intense loneliness, loss of identity, and destructive habits once the novelty of the win fades. A lack of purpose or daily structure can turn what should be freedom into a psychological prison. Mistake number 7. Believing luck will last forever. Some winners assume their money, or their luck, is permanent. But luck is unpredictable, and wealth without strategy rarely lasts. One vivid example of this pattern is Evelyn Adams, who won over $5.4 million in the New Jersey lottery after winning multiple jackpots in the mid-1980s. Adams gambled heavily in Atlantic City casinos and spent large amounts on failed business ventures and gifts to people she thought needed help. Eventually, she lost all her winnings and found herself living in a trailer park decades later. Adams' story shows that without discipline, especially when gambling continues, even multiple jackpots cannot sustain a lifetime of spending. Across these stories, the same patterns repeat. Winners lose control of information, lack professional guidance, give money without structure, inflate their lifestyles, trust the wrong people, lose purpose, and assume luck will sustain them forever. The winners who stay wealthy don't do so because they're lucky again. They do it because they protect their privacy, set boundaries, seek professional advice early, and treat their wealth as temporary capital that must be managed. There is no lottery curse, and the lottery doesn't ruin lives. Unpreparedness does. Luck gives you a moment, but what you do next determines everything. And if you want to know what you should do immediately after a windfall to preserve your wealth and safety, head to this video next. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories about what happens when luck strikes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.